Hello and welcome once again to the latest video in my YouTube channel in which I preview my upcoming book, You Say Soccer, I Say Football. In the last video I talked about the introduction to my book, and as I promised, in each video I'm going to talk about each chapter of my book, but this video is not actually a new chapter in the book, it's a continuation of the introduction. It was just too long to put into one video, so I split it into two videos. In part two of the introduction, I talk about why I chose football. Just personally, like why did this sport become a sport of choice for me since I was about 9 years old or so, 9, 10 years old. And I give a boring answer and a more, well, romantic answer. So the boring answer is that, well, I grew up in the Netherlands and it's a pretty football heavy country. That's the sport of choice in the country, the number one sport of the country. So, you know, what happened? I was a kid. All my friends were playing it. What happens when you're a kid at that age? You want to fit in, right? You want to fit in with the group. So everybody else was doing that sport, playing football. I thought, well, if I want to fit in with the cool kids, I should probably know what this sport is all about. And so I just started playing it and started researching it. So what's the more romantic answer as to why I chose football? Well, the truth is that football was a form of escapism for me. It was a way for me to essentially flee my insecurities and flee from all the parts of myself that I didn't really like and just didn't feel good about myself. And to play a game in which, well, it's essentially pretty meritocratic. I mean, if you're a good player, you play, you know, with some exceptions, of course, but generally, you know, if you are a great player, you're going to play. It doesn't matter how you look, doesn't matter if you're socially awkward, doesn't matter if you're weird. If you're a good player, you'll play. And the meritocratic aspect of football really attracted me, especially because of, you know, aforementioned insecurities, which are part of growing up, which I'm sure we've all had. But just all the aspects of myself that I didn't like and didn't feel good about, I could essentially forget about when I played football. It didn't really matter if you were attractive or likable or popular or anything like that with football, at least in my experience. That didn't matter. It was really almost purely meritocratic. So another key reason that I chose football, the more, you know, romantic answer for it, was that, and I talk about this in lengthy detail in part four, but I speculate that there is this part of our souls, this part of our humanity, in which we really want to express ourselves. Like there's some kind of energy, and I liken it more to like the thing that makes people want to be poets or artists or musicians or some kind of really creative endeavor instead of bankers or engineers, and no disrespect, of course, to these people. But that type of energy, that type of desire to express yourself in a way that you can't do in your everyday life, I felt that to an extent. And when I found out about football, then I realized like, okay, this feels like a place where I can kind of express myself much better than I can in my regular day-to-day life. And it was just that type of that feeling, that energy that drew me to it. And it's difficult to explain really in detail. And I mean, I've written about it in my book, and I still don't think I quite captured what I was trying to say, quite captured that feeling. But it was that type of energy, that desire to express yourself in a way that you couldn't, or that I couldn't in my regular life. I talk about this in, I believe it's part 3 of my book, which is that football is, it's such a simple sport. You just need space and a ball and maybe something to demarcate the lines of the pitch and the goals. But it's such a simple sport. And yet it's so complex because you can play the ball in almost an infinite number of permutations. You can play the ball with the inside of your foot, the outside, the back heel, your backside, your chest, your head, even your cheek or your face, any part of the body except, of course, your hands, you can play with. So that means there are also almost an infinite number of ways in which to express yourself. You know, you have stylistically, teams and players can express themselves in so many different ways because it's such a simple sport in which you can express or use almost every part of your body. And that is that beauty, that simplicity of expression that also drew me to it. So thank you once again for joining me today in this video in which I discussed the second part of the introduction to my book. Next time we'll actually talk about the chapters themselves, the first actual chapter of my book, and I'm excited to talk about it, of course. So I hope you'll join me again next time in the next video of my series. Once again, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, to check out my website, which is edwardp.me, Edward and the letter P, which is my middle initial, .me. And of course, subscribe to my newsletter and subscribe to my Facebook page and all those places. Also, I'm on LinkedIn and Quora, of course, as well. So just look for my name, go to my website, and yeah, please follow me. And don't forget to join my launch team, which once again is a group of readers that will get an advanced copy of my book and read it before it comes out and leave a review when it goes live in December of 2020. So make sure to join that, and there's a link, of course, in the description, as always. And I hope you'll join me as well, and hope you'll join me for the next video, which hopefully will come in a few days' time. So thank you all very much, and take care, and see you next time.